Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Tackle on My Mind. What's on my mind today? Well, I'm going to try to do a little fishing, try to catch a little fish. But my main goal today is, so I've belonged to a couple different Facebook pages, and one of them has a lot of, good questions for, well, it's actually advice questions, I guess. Guys are trying to just get started in kayak fishing. It's the name of the Facebook page is called Kayak Fishing Dads, and a lot of guys, trying to get started. And recently, a person asked the question. They were getting in their first tournament, and they, want to know if there's any advice anyone could give. And I started thinking, there's a ton of advice, but a lot of it depends on the fish. Obviously you're in a tournament, you want to catch fish. Can't control that. I can do everything I want. If the fish aren't biting, then I'm not going to catch fish. So what are some things I can control? Well, I guess, obviously, again, bait selection, but again, if the fish aren't biting, I'm not going to catch any fish. So, but if I do catch a fish, I'm going to assume this person at a kayak tournament is a catch, photo, release. So that is something you can control. You can control how you set up and how you do your catch, photo, release. Because I think what gets a lot of anglers in trouble is that part of it right there. They'll catch the fish, and now what? What do we do now that we've caught a fish? How do we get a good picture taken? How do we make sure we get a good picture submitted? For me, I have a process laid out for me. I got things set up in my kayak for it that I want to be able to do. What I'm going to do every time I catch a fish that I want a photo. I suggested to this person, on the Facebook page, first tournament, if there's a minimum limit, I would still just take a picture of every fish he could. So what I'm hope to do tonight, again, that first process is going to be catching a fish, but after that, I am hoping to take him through that process of what do I do now that I've caught a fish? How do I go about getting it on the board? First would be to stay away from backlashes. Perhaps that's another video someday. What do you do if you get a backlash? I'm gonna say staying away from backlashes. There are things you can do, obviously, to prevent some backlashes. You're not going to prevent all of them. Here's what I do. Catch the fish. This is my measuring process. We got her in the net. First of all, any rods that I have on the deck, I want to get rid of those, put those back in my hand holder. Get into my net. Don't worry if my hook's in the net. I want to get it's not a big one, but we're going to show you the process. I got a good hold of them. Put my net back in its holder. And I have what is called my donkey leash. It's basically a cold tag on a little leash. Make sure that's clipped in good. I'll put him back in the water. He's not going to go anywhere. I get the rest of my rods taken care of. Paddle in the paddle holder. I get out my catch board. I Get that cleaned off a little bit. Make sure I have my ID tag. This is just going to be one from a past tournament. I get that in place. I get out my phone. Pull up the camera, and I always take a, helps me keep track how many fish I got. This is the first fish. I put up the one finger. Then I get my fish up from his donkey leash. A lot of grass here. Get a good grip on him. That donkey leash off. Lay him on the measuring board. His mouth has to be closed. This would be a scoreable fish because we go by 12 in most leagues. He's about 12 3/4. I make sure I have a hold of him. I get up my phone. Sure everything's going to be in the picture. He was moving just as I took that one, so I'm going to take another one. I'm going to check that. That's a good photo. I'm going to release him. Put my board away. That is the process I go through every time I catch a fish that I'm going to measure.